England are ready to take on the All Blacks this weekend. Steve Borthwick has named the 23 early, like he did for that game against Japan. That's quite interesting. But in this video, my thoughts on the team. Welcome back. You can have your say in the comment section, so go and put it in there. And also, like the video and subscribe to the channel whilst you're here as well. But this is the England team, the Matchday 23, that will be taking the field at the Forsyth Bar Stadium this weekend. My first thoughts are, I feel like England are pretty much as strong as they could be at the moment. I know George Ford might be playing if he wasn't injured. Ellis Genge likewise is missing through injury. But generally speaking, at the moment, most areas of that team I look at and go, yeah, that makes sense. We know that Jamie George is going to start at hooker. Maro Itoje and George Martin, likewise in the second row, you feel pretty confident in those guys being there. Maybe Ollie Chesham would potentially start if he wasn't injured. But even so, it's a strong second row pairing. The back row as well, again, maybe Tom Curry comes in. He's on the bench again, having returned from a long injury layoff. But Cunningham South, Underhill, Earl, I feel pretty confident in them. And then Mitchell and Marcus Smith, Lawrence and Henry Slade feel like the centres for England at the moment. And then Freeman, Faye Waboso, George Furbank. It feels like Steve Borthwick, particularly this year, actually, if you look back at the Six Nations and you look at Freeman coming into the team and George Furbank getting that starting fullback position, there is a development in this England squad. And I suppose we will find out how good this team is this weekend. But for the time being, given the options available, for me, I feel like it's probably pretty much the strongest team that they have. The big headline, I think, is going to be the props. And that is probably the area of the England team, and I've spoken about it previously on the channel, where there's been the least amount of development. They are hoping that the next generation is coming through, a lot of them playing for the under-20s in the under-20 World Championships at the moment. But it's Marler and Stewart who start, Finn Baxter and Dan Cole on the bench, so no place for Bevan Rodd, who did play against Japan. And Marler and Cole are still essential, aren't they? I think we've seen Borthwick call upon them like this already this season, where one of them starts, one of them comes off the bench, because I think he wants the experience of them there in some capacity. The World Cup semi-finals are a great example of where England started both of them. They were going really well. The replacements came on. The England scrum got absolutely mullered by the box. And we all know what happened. They end up losing the semi-final by a point. So having the experience on the bench and having some experience starting, I think, makes sense as a balance and a way to go about it. And then Finn Baxter, I suppose, is the really interesting one here. Absolutely deserves his opportunity. He was great for Harlequins this year. And I think in particular, actually, and if we look at Finn Baxter compared to maybe some other young English props coming through, I think first of all, he has played more Premiership rugby than, say, an Asher Opoku-Forjaw. Certainly started more, but also he's had some pretty big experiences. He was excellent against Ben Tamafuna in the Champions Cup, what was it, quarter-final, away to Bordeaux. He put in a superb shift there, so I'm really excited to see how he goes. And I think having the experience of Dan Cole alongside him, both coming off the bench together, you would imagine, it's just what you want from a new young guy in the team, away to New Zealand, a tough place to go against a really good pack. He'll have Dan Cole there, rather than, say, it being Baxter and Will Stewart that come off the bench, and we could see something similar than what we saw in the World Cup semi-final. The other thing is as well, worth mentioning with the props, I think scrum is going to be pivotal. I know set piece always is, but you look at the improvement in the All Blacks last year in the run-up to that World Cup and getting themselves to a World Cup final. That front five, their scrum was actually very, very good and very solid. It will be a central piece to the game on Saturday. Elsewhere, if we look at the rest of the England team, I mean, what stands out for you? For me, the props was the big headline. I still think Marcus Smith, I think it's a huge opportunity and a really exciting opportunity for him. To me, it feels like an important couple of weeks in the international career of Marcus Smith. He's been given the reins at 10. He's the experienced fly half in the squad. As has been spoken about a lot, there won't be many England squads where he hasn't had Owen Farrell or George Ford in there with him. He's spent a lot of time learning from them, seeing how you run the team in a test week, seeing how you run the attack, and now away to the All Blacks, what an opportunity for him. And actually, I think we look at this game, I know it's going to be one up front with those two forward packs going at each other, But if Damien McKenzie starts for the All Blacks, if Marcus Smith starts for England, those are two fly halves that want to run it, that want to exploit space and look for opportunities. I just wonder what style of game plan we could end up seeing this weekend. I think it's quite exciting, actually, and I really hope Marcus Smith goes well. And I think he will, actually. I think it's an opportunity that he has waited a long time for, really. Just to kind of round things off on the England bench, so Coles comes in for Charlie Ewels, who's obviously banned. Ben Spencer comes in. Harry Randall did feature against Japan, but he drops out. And Ollie Slightholme comes in for Tom Roebuck. Spencer and Randall is an interesting one. I wondered if, because Harry Randall got the opportunity against Japan, we know Borthwick likes continuity, we'd see him be given another go, very quick scrum half to come off the bench and inject pace into the game. But I suppose Spencer can inject pace into the game, and it also just has a little bit more control, which maybe if they're looking to the final 20 minutes, half an hour of a test match away in New Zealand, that's just what they want to go with. That's the type of scrum half they think is going to have a better effect on the game. And Ollie Slightholme, again, he was a player that after not playing against Japan, I thought, okay, maybe Slightholme is going to be one of those players that doesn't feature on this tour. Tom Roebuck could be the player that they want to utilise. And actually, Roebuck would make sense for a lot of reasons, because with Freeman and with Roebuck, in particular with the England kicking game and the batting the ball back from the wingers, I know Slightholme can do that as well, but Roebuck is excellent at that for Sale. I just wondered whether Roebuck at this moment in time might have fit into the game plan a bit better, but it's Slightholme, and quite frankly, no one can deny that he doesn't deserve the opportunity. One of the form wingers in the Premiership all season, really, wasn't he? And then to get this opportunity, I mean, him and Faye were both, I'd say, the form wingers in the Premiership. So what a chance for him to come off the bench. He has scored some blockbuster tries for Northampton all season long. What can he do off the bench against the All Blacks? What a place to make your debut, by the way. Unbelievable. So that's the England team. Is it good enough to take on New Zealand? I think that's a tough question to answer, because where are this New Zealand team right now? New coach, new era. What are they going to look like? What is their style of play going to look like under Scott Robertson? I actually think the Matchday 23 isn't going to be hugely different to what we saw finish the World Cup final. I think they will go strong. I think they will go as experienced as they can. They've obviously, you know, when you lose Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock, Aaron Smith, you've lost quality and you have lost massive experience there. But actually still, I think, looking at the team more generally for the All Blacks, you have a pretty good idea, certainly, of what the starting 15 is going to be, I would imagine. I did that actually in the video I did on the New Zealand team. When their squad was announced, I flashed up a graphic on what I felt like the squad would be. There was only a few question marks in there. So it's going to be a great series, I hope. I think it's a perfect series for England at the moment for us to find out how good they are. And also it's going to be incredibly intriguing to see where New Zealand are. World Cup final where they lost by only a point, and we'll feel they maybe could have, should have got over the line in that game. But a new coach coming in who's heralded, his track record speaks for itself. Yeah, I'm excited to see how they go. So leave a comment down below. What do you make of this England team? Do you agree with me? Generally speaking, I think, yeah, it's about as strong as England can go at the moment. Certainly once you consider the injuries they have. So yeah, let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.